So every morning, this is my view. It's my front steps as I walk out my door. I look around, and I've been here for about 3 years now. This is my neighborhood. And as I look at my neighborhood, I see faces, because from the first week that we moved in, we were reaching out to our neighbors. We decided to welcome ourselves to our neighborhood, so we brought cookies out to a bunch of our neighbors. And since then, we've made some really good friendships. So when it snows, Jake and I know where to go. We go to the houses that people that need help shoveling. There's widows and people that have trouble shoveling. We hang out with them in different occasions. We've had parties in our neighborhood. We have friends in our neighborhood. We have people that go to Grace on our neighborhood that come by here every day. But as I think about neighborhoods, I think about the parable of the Good Samaritan. There was a teacher that came and talked to the Good Samaritan. There was a teacher that came and talked to Jesus, and he basically asked Jesus, what are the greatest commandments? And Jesus rattled off the great commandment, and basically that is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And the teacher then asked, trying to justify himself, who is my neighbor? And Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan, which is the story of the guy that goes out on the road and gets waylaid by robbers, and several religious teachers walk by him, and then finally the Samaritan, who is the outcast in Jewish culture, decides to come and walks and cares for the man. And at the end of the story, Jesus asked the teacher, he said, who is the neighbor? Who was the good neighbor? And the man said, the one who cared for the man, the Samaritan. And Jesus said, go and do likewise. And as I think about the neighborhoods of Iowa City and about my own very neighborhood here, it reminds me of a couple things. First of all, it reminds me of that story, and that there are people out here everywhere that are desperately needy. There was 2 fires in our block here this year, and we had people staying in our house and helping them out. But that was just the beginning of it. There's all sorts of people in this neighborhood that desperately have broken families, broken homes, that desperately need help. And my prayer daily for this neighborhood is that God would let us be a light here, that we could shine and we could help out our neighbors. But secondly, as I think about it, I just remember that this is something that's bigger than me. This is something that I can't do alone. See, the good story of the Good Samaritan, the great Samaritan was Jesus. He was the one that came and rescued us in our place. You know, I've had my share of hard times as well. And it was Jesus and Jesus moving in the lives of people that really brought that to pass. And so as I think today about the Good Samaritan and Jesus and my neighbor, I recognize they desperately need Jesus, and they need to see Jesus in me more than anything. As I've been walking here, I've been walking into the next door, the block next to mine. And in this block, we have the largest population of Muslims and Sudanese Muslims in Iowa City, and I think perhaps in Iowa. And so as I look around, I think sometimes we can think about our neighbors, we can think about reaching the lost, and we can think about the world. And yeah, I just wanted to remind you that today the world is next door. There's people all around you. You never know who your neighbor is and what influence they might have in culture. And so today, as you look around your culture, I want you to ask, who is my neighbor, and what would Jesus have me do with him?